What's up folks, my name's Mark, I'm from Manchester in Britain, and today I'm bringing you 10 differences between British and American English that I've jotted down here for you. Now before we get started, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Green Forest if you haven't already. Okay guys, number one, spelling differences. We have a lot of different spelling differences between British and American English, and I'm going to be taking you through a few examples of this right now. For example, colour, flavour, humour, labour, and also neighbour. Another example, we both have travel, but when we spell travelled in British English, we are spelling this with two L's, travelled. And we also have travelling, and we also have traveller. For each of these words, in British English, we are using two L's, and in American English, they are using one L. We also have the S versus Z rule, or Z in American English. Apologise, organise, recognise. We also have the ENS differentiation. Let me give you some short examples of this also. For example, defense, defense. For example, offense, offense. Even words such as grey and tyre are spelt differently between British and American English. Number two, grammatical differences. Being British, we tend to have a very expansive vocabulary compared to our American counterparts. We tend to use more vast, long-running sentences, which can be more difficult to digest for people, whereas Americans, with American English, are more direct, simplified, and straight to the point with their English sentences. For example, shall we head down to the supermarket? Should we go to the store? With grammatical differences in the modern day, many of us are mixing these together because let's face it, American media is very prevalent globally. For example, the word store is more American English than British. When I find myself heading down to the supermarket, personally I will say, shall we head to the store or shall we pop to the store? Mixing the American and British English aspects perfectly with our differences. Guys, there's one more grammatical difference I'd like to share with you, and that is the tense that we use in our sentences. British people tend to use present perfect, whereas Americans are keeping it much more simple. Can I borrow that video game from you? In British English, no, I haven't played it yet. In American English, no, I didn't play it yet. Guys, I know grammar can be a real challenge for you when you start your journey to learning English, whether it be American or British. Why not take some of our online classes with Green Forest School by clicking the link in the description? Okay guys, number three, we're going to be looking at different prepositions. The differences in our prepositions are not so simple. They can actually be quite mixed in the modern day, but we do still have obvious different prepositions. Here are some examples. In British English, I want to play in a sports team when I go to college. In American English, I really want to play on a sports team when I go to college. Another example. In British English, I really want to enroll on that college course. In American English, I really want to enroll in that college course. In British English, let's meet at the weekend. In American English, let's meet on the weekend. Honestly guys, as native speakers, we don't think too much about prepositions. However, I would advise you learning them to better hone your English speaking skills. Number four, pronunciation. We have rather different pronunciations across British and American English, and I'm going to give you a few short examples now. For the first example, I want to give you my personal experience from my time living in the USA. So the first example is Hyundai, which is British English, or Hyundai, which is American English. During my time in America, I got better at learning American English and speaking more simplistically. and I got better at speaking in a more simple manner. However, I will not change from Hyundai to Hyundai. It's Hyundai. Number 2, either. In British English, we are saying either, but in American English, they are pronouncing it either. Honestly, in the modern day, I even find myself switching between either and either. It really doesn't matter how you pronounce this word, but just be prepared for your mind to switch between them both sometimes, naturally. Which is true. As a native speaker, I'm switching between either or either. And guys, you're probably wondering why I find myself switching between pronouncing this word either or either. Honestly, it's due to my personal experiences learning American English. Guys, I spent 1 year living in Fort Wayne, Indiana, out in the Midwest. My voice would go more monotone during my time there, and as I got back to the UK, I had a real clash of languages. So nowadays, I find myself mixing my American and British English. Number 5, different words. Basically a pants versus trousers kind of situation. So let me give you some more examples. Number 1, you are at the supermarket and you are quite hungry and you are buying some fresh fruits and vegetables. You have a particular fruit or vegetable that you really like. And in American English, you call this an eggplant. But in British English, it's completely different. We are calling the eggplant an aubergine. Guys, just remember with eggplant and aubergine, if you are in the United States of America or maybe somewhere in Canada, make sure if you can't find this item in the supermarket to ask for the eggplant. And if you are in the UK, make sure you are asking for an aubergine, because people in the UK can get very confused when people come into our supermarkets and start asking for eggplants. We're like, an eggplant? You mean like you just want some eggs? No, you want an aubergine in this situation. Number 2, wrench, spanner. So a wrench or a spanner is a tool that you could use for DIY purposes, for example. In American English, we call this a wrench, but in British English, we call it a spanner. Did you know you can actually use these two in a sentence as an idiom, which I will touch on later? Don't throw a wrench into the works. Don't throw a spanner into the works. We'll touch back on that one a little bit later in the video. Guys, it's time to vindicate my favorite brand of crisps, and this is Walker's. But in American English, you call these Lay's. American English, potato chips. British English, crisps. Another example, guys. Oh, sorry, 1 second. I have a call on my mobile phone. In British English, we are calling this a mobile phone. In American English, you will be taking a call on your cell phone. That's right. Honestly, guys, I think after this video, I will need a nice wee holiday. This is British English. In American English, after this video, I would be saying I need a nice vacation. Number 6, accent differences. Did you know that over the British Isles we have up to 40 different accents and dialects across the different regions? Whereas in America, they have less accents and they have a more monotone style of voice. For example, if you come to Britain, you can come to my hometown of Manchester, and this is how I natively speak. But if you go 30 kilometers down the road to Liverpool, they have a completely different accent, which is known locally as Scouse.
So if I said right, a Scouser would say
Right.
right, let's get going.
Right, let's get going.
And locally, my accent is known as Mancunian.
Lovely.
Lovely.
She's lovely.
She's lovely.
These are just some of the small differences across regional accents and dialects across the United Kingdom. Whereas in America, sure, you have the Southern accent.
My name is Lieutenant Aldo Rain, and I'm putting together a special team, and I need me 8 soldiers.
You've got the New York accent.
A Christmas song, favorite Christmas song, favorite Christmas song. But that's
You couldn't hear that, but it was so New York. The Christmas one.
Yes.
and the accent's even a little bit different all the way over in California.
You know, we do our show from Hollywood in California. I live here. I was born in Brooklyn.
And you even have the Canadian accent in North America.
Oh, you said tomorrow, you gotta say tomorrow or something, or you said sorry and we say sorry, and so all that stuff. I stopped listening to them when they would tell me that I sounded Canadian.
One thing that you will notice as you are learning English is that people from North America speak much more clearly than people from the United Kingdom. For example, people in America will speak more like, hey man, let me take a look at that. Whereas people in the UK can be like, are you right mate, can I take a look at that? Notice the difference? It's very important during your English language journey to try to learn both American and British English. This will better help you understand both sets of languages, and you'll understand all the accents and regional differences across both countries. Number 7, date formatting. Now, this isn't necessarily just a difference between British and American English, but it's something that always comes up between British and American people, so I wanted to talk about it today. So, in Britain and most of the world, we're using the day, month, and year format. For example, the 25th of December, 2024, Christmas Day. In America, they're using the month, day, and year format. For example, the 12th of the 25th, 2024, which is the 25th of December, 2024. Guys, for more information on date formatting, be sure to check out our YouTube channel and you will find our date formatting video on the Green Forest page. For number 8, we're going to be looking at the same idioms which have different wordings. In Britain, we mostly speak in idioms sometimes, and we have many more idioms in my personal opinion than American counterparts. But did you know we have some common idioms which mean exactly the same thing, which are just spelt differently, and it comes back to that wrench and spanner situation again. Throw a spanner into the works, British English. Throw a wrench into the works, American English. This particular idiom, whilst one is spanner and one is wrench, to throw a wrench or a spanner into the works is to kind of mess things up. Like, dude, please, don't throw a spanner into the works, just leave it. A drop in the ocean, British English. A drop in the bucket, American English. Okay guys, with this idiom, our video is only a drop in the ocean. Whilst you are having a great time watching this, it really is just a drop in the bucket at the start of your English journey with us. Next example. Take it with a pinch of salt, British English. Take it with a grain of salt, American English. When you're telling someone to take something with a pinch or grain of salt, it means don't take it too seriously. Maybe somebody is telling a story to you that they swear is true, but then your other friend could come and say, take it with a pinch of salt what this person just told you. For number 9, we're going to be looking at education. More specifically, we'll look at how we grade ourselves each year we are in school, whether in America or Britain. So guys, in the British education system, we have nursery and reception. In the American education system, they have daycare and preschool. We also have, in Britain, years 1 through 13. In America, they have kindergarten and then grades 1 through 12. For number 10, we're going to be looking at language directiveness. When you're speaking to a British person, we are very, very polite. Sometimes we are over polite to a point where it's actually a fault. We use a vast array of different words and meanings so that when you're talking to us, you might not fully understand where we are coming from with our sentences. However, when you're speaking to our American counterparts, their monotone style of voice and their directiveness of their simplistic version of the language, you will always understand an American much more easier than you will understand a British person. For example, in Britain we will say, could you do this? Would you mind doing this? Can you just take a look at this and see if it's okay? Oh, sorry, sorry is a big one for British people. In America, they will be direct and straight to the point, like, hey man, give me this. So guys, in British English, please could you consider leaving us a comment at the end of this video in American English. Hey man, don't forget to drop a comment at the end of this video. And guys, it was Mark here again. Thank you as always for watching. Дуже дякую. Don't forget to give us a follow here at Green Forest School. And if you haven't already, click the link in the description and start your online journey with us today.